was on Daniel's soundboard.
Oh.
So we don't physically have it anymore.
We gotta find the same one.
Well, we should find one that I can play off.
We should make a button be a fart.
Eventually, I'm gonna get a soundboard.
And I'm gonna make one a fart.
We are working on it.
Mark my words.
We're working on it, though. We are trying to make sure that we are able to have the equipment that we need to get this, this
popping
podcast back up and
this
running.
Podcast popping.
We haven't told you guys what the topic is for this week, so just...
Oh, our dad just got home.
That's not the topic, but...
Oh, yeah, that's not... Oh, my God, that'd be fucked up to people whose dad didn't come home.
Oh, man. But our topic for this episode is going to be boundaries.
Yes, it is.
We've filmed 4 episodes so far. If you guys haven't watched those, go check the link that I have somewhere up here. Or if you're listening on Spotify, go check out our other episodes. Each one is roughly about an hour long, and each one has a different topic. This is a mental health focused podcast, so most of our topics are mental health focused.
I don't know why I did that. I'm so embarrassed.
It did kind of add to what I was saying, so...
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of what we got going on here. It's been a little while since we filmed one. We had a lot going on. As you can see,
we moved.
The backdrop is a little
Shit.
different.
We moved. We moved.
We are filming in my bedroom. We are back in our house. For any of you that don't know, we lost a lot in the hurricane that hit us. But yeah, so we are finally back in our house. We finally had the time, the energy, the mental stability to be able to film an episode. We've had a lot going on in our personal lives, as well as trying to rebuild after the hurricane, so we kind of needed to take some time to ourselves and just kind of figure out exactly...
We had to get our shit together, sis.
Yeah, figure out what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it, and now we're doing it.
Wait, bitch. So not on my watch.
But yeah, so we're gonna jump into it. We are talking about boundaries today. I thought that would be a really good topic just because, since we are mental health-based podcast.
I was like, where's she going with that? What are we mentally?
Since we're mentally unstable.
I thought that's why
we talk about mental health. But anyways, you have the first question, right?
I do. Okay, so I thought it would just be smart to start on a really general question. So I'm just gonna put out into the room, what exactly is a boundary? First of all, I guess that would be different to everybody.
Mm-hmm. As far as me, I would say that a boundary is, like a border that you set up, maybe a little half wall. It's not a full brick wall that you're shutting people out, but it's just a little fence.
She looking through the peephole.
It's a fence to
It's a defense.
Keep people off your lawn. They can still come in. But no, a boundary is a healthy border that you set in a relationship, whether it be a friendship, family, co-workers. I mean, you can set boundaries with any kind of relationship you have in your life. A lot of times when we are taught about boundaries, it is in the form of a relationship. But
yeah,
I think
it's
super
I think
important.
that's important. It's always in a romantic aspect, but definitely in every relationship it's important to state what certain things really bother you, and not to use a term that has been way overused, what triggers you, and how to tell people, hey, please don't do that. I'm not dictating what you do or how you act, but surely telling you the best way to take care of me is going to help us both, especially if you do the same thing, and then we're Gucci.
Yeah.
No one's getting triggered.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we should be taught what boundaries are at a lot younger of an age. Me personally, I have not learned how to set boundaries until I was in my late 20s. So, it's not like it's something that you're taught at school. It's not something that, you're always taught in your home life. But it is something that I think is really important in not only taking care of the relationships in your life, but taking care of yourself. I think boundaries are obviously most beneficial for the person setting them, because there's so many things that go on in people's lives.
I just think they're beneficial completely. Of course there are situations where, it can be unrealistic. Maybe it was some sort of trauma you've been through. Because unfortunately, the best teacher is trauma. I mean, a lot of reasons we learn boundaries are because people cross them. And when it happens in retro, we look at it now and we're like, that was a boundary that if I stated, But also you don't want to, like, sit here and be like, if I did something differently, because you are the you that went past that, like, went through that already. So, of course you know that now.
Yeah, exactly. And as far as boundaries, like, my first question that I wrote down is, how do you establish boundaries? Because it's one thing to know what a boundary is, but it's another completely different story when it comes to actually setting those boundaries. Me personally, not to get too deep, but that is what this podcast is all about. I have some sexual trauma. I have, a lot of things that have happened to me in my past that were horrible. And, if I'm trying to establish a serious relationship with someone, I don't necessarily like to jump into that too quick or, like, do something too kinky or anything. Like, I have to ease into being comfortable with someone in that way just because of PTSD. Like,
I get what you're saying completely. Like, that's horrible. I think a lot of people can relate to that, unfortunately. But, like, it's so sad to hear someone say, like, well, maybe, like, trauma made this and blah, blah, blah. Like, when we're taught almost that boundaries, like, make us oversensitive or, like, we're not allowed to be uncomfortable with that. We're not allowed to be triggered because it's a word that's been, like, misused and it's this buzzword. And that doesn't mean it's not, like, an important thing to at least be aware of, Now, unfortunately, because of the traumas, you've been through and other people have been through, you may have new triggers, and you might not even know them yet, because that's the thing, like, some people can get shamed, like, often in an abusive relationship. Well, you never told me that was a boundary, and it's like, you doing it showed me it is, so of course I'm not going to sit here and, like, argue with you. It's not your fault I didn't tell you that's a boundary, but surely you know it now. I just learned about it now, and that's okay. We're human. Yep. Just like it's human for you to mess up, it's human for me to have messed up by not telling you as well.
And I think especially when it comes to sex, like, setting boundaries is so important, especially when you're developing a relationship early on. I don't think we're ever really taught how to set boundaries until we're faced in a situation where we kind of have to. And especially sexually, we should be taught that in school.
I definitely agree with, like, before you're having sex with someone, you should have already discussed your sexual boundaries. Like, and what's interesting is my next question kind of, like, plays into that of how and when do you really tell someone how do you discuss that with someone, because it is a very vulnerable discussion to have. But surely if you're already contemplating, being intimate with this person, which is very vulnerable, you should be able to talk about it. Like, it's very, you shouldn't be doing it if you can't talk about it, because if you can talk about it now, talk about, this I'm not okay with, this I'm cool with. Like, I personally like to say to someone, what are some of your really hard no's? Like, the things where, I'm not doing it, I'm not even interested. No. Like, what are some of those so I know not to even, like, tread in that water, Because you don't need to. Like, there's so much you can do,
Like, when I was younger, I didn't really know how to use my voice. And that plays a lot into setting boundaries, is to know, like, when to say things and how to say them. And now I'm a very curious person by nature. I love asking people questions. I love getting to know people. And I've just changed it and shifted it into a way where it's more so just asking someone a question and, like, getting to know them. Because even if
it can be a beautiful process.
Even if we weren't to be romantic with each other, I still want to know who you are as a person. I still want to know what your boundaries are as a person. I don't have to be interested in you romantically to be able to respect you.
And that's something that's really interesting, too, that I think kind of plays into it. Like, it's just this romanticization of, like, anything emotional, anything caring. Like, I'm affectionate with my friends. Like, if they're a male, if they're a female, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna be affectionate. If you're cool with that, of course. I'm not gonna go up and hug someone who doesn't like hugs. Like, but, I tell my guy friends as well as my girlfriend, like, I love you. Like, please get home safe. Let me know. And if you don't, I'm gonna fight you. Like, that's just how I care about people. Like, that's not an inherently romantic thing. It's not romantic.
And what's interesting with that too is, like, culturally, other cultures are so different with that. Like, it's literally a thing in Asian culture. They have a word for it called skinship, where it's like, it sounds kinky, but it literally means, like, being physically intimate with someone without it being, like, sexual. So it's just like,
I mean, that's just
physical
what they
touch.
call platonic, pretty much.
Literally.
So,
and
platonic affection.
Western culture makes it seem like so gay, or like, you know, it's not acceptable for people to,
oh
like,
my god, you just
hold
reminded
hands and, like, hug each other.
Speaking
like,
of, there was that video I showed you where it was the 3 just random dudes hanging out, and this one dude was like, it was probably for TikTok or some bullshit, but he was like, I'm gonna test, like, how my friends react if I just, like, kind of start crying in the room. They all just hugged him. All of the guy friends that were just fucking around, like, being bros, just went and hugged each other, and it was so sweet, and, like, you don't see enough of that at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never, you know, you're scrolling on your stuff, you're seeing people do crazy shit, and then you see people just, like, hugging each other and be like, you know, hey, are you okay, buddy? Like, love you. Like, you're gonna get through that. Like, it's so nice to see affection, like, between friends, you know, just, I really care about you just as a person. I want you to be okay. Like, I want to witness your life.
And that's where establishing boundaries can come in handy, because it's just like our last video was on love languages. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But we discussed love languages, and one of the love languages is physical touch. Like, it's, you know, that physical intimacy. And some people are really weird with that, i.e. me. I can be really weird with physical, but I also can crave it. It just depends on the person. It depends on, you know, the boundaries that I've set with that person, and vice versa. Like, some people just don't like hugs. Like, I grew up, my mom, she's not a big hugger. Like, my sister's not a big hugger. I'm the complete opposite. I grew up loving that, like, physical.
It's not that I don't like physical touch or, like, hugs. I grew up in a family where, like, people will just run up to you and hug you and pinch your cheeks.
Kiss you
and for me, like, yeah, that's nice. I like affection. I don't like to be touched. I got my own little bubble. I like, you know, permission. Like, hey, like, you want to hug? I love that so much when someone can tell, you know, I'm upset, which isn't their job, but it's very sweet when someone's like, hey, you want to hug? Because I can be like, not really, but, like, you saying that really felt nice. Like, I got the affection from that. I'm just more closed off, you know. I've just recently started, like, giving her more hugs, and she's just...
Yeah, I take them.
Yeah.
But it's so funny, because boundaries, they go hand in hand with love languages, because, like I just said, some people really don't like physical touch. But say you're dating someone who their number one love language is physical touch. You're either going to have to learn how to, like, work with each other, or it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
That's just how it is with love languages.
You have to be able to love. Compromise.
You have to be able to love your partner in the language that they want to be loved in. Yeah. And if you can't do that, then that's okay. You're not a bad person for that, but your partner also has to be able to vocalize those boundaries, those things that they need and or want in a relationship. Because boundaries don't have to necessarily just be something that you're not okay with. It can be, like, things that you pretty much demand in a relationship too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's hard a lot of times too, because I think people almost feel selfish or guilty when they do things where it is like, because you're being kind to yourself by setting a boundary, you know. And personally, I think it's an act of service to do that to a person. You know, if I'm in a relationship with someone and they're like, hey, you know, yesterday you did blah 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 and it made me uncomfortable, and I just, you know, if you could not do that, or we could find a different, you know, just communicating in that way, like, the right person is not going to be upset at you for that. You know, and I don't just mean a romantic partner. I mean, you know, friends. If you're like, hey, I'm so sorry I didn't write back last night. You know, I've been having a really bad mental health day and blah, 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 blah. If they're not, like, understanding to things like that, I think that is, you know, that's why we have the term red flag. Like, boundaries are to be respected. It's a respectful thing to tell someone, hey, this is my boundary. Because, I mean, that's showing you they're planning to keep you in their life. You know, they're telling you how they want to be loved. Someone that knows how they want to be loved, forget about it. I'm still learning how I want to be loved.
You're not helping your relationship, no matter what kind of relationship it is, by keeping your needs and wants a secret. Because eventually the facade is going to fall and you're going to have to start vocalizing how you feel, or you're just going to be living a fake life and no one's happy in the end at that point. I think that's a big thing that I find in dating, like, nowadays, is so many people, like, will pretend that, you know, they're okay with this or they're okay with that.
Liars.
Or maybe they...
Liars.
I think genuinely sometimes people just don't know, too.
They lie to themselves.
Sometimes people might not have a lot of experience in relationships and they genuinely don't know what their boundaries are because they haven't been pushed to them before.
But there's also, you know, you gotta be realistic. There are gonna be people that you try to date that do put up that facade, that are, you know, perfect until they got you hook, line, and sinker. You know, it doesn't mean everybody's like that, and it doesn't mean look at every situation in a cynical, you know, way, but you gotta protect yourself out here, Blake.
Ain't that the truth?
You gotta protect yourself out here,
Ain't
Blake.
that the
And boundaries are how you do that.
Preach. Word from your sisters
And your mother.
But, so my next
Probably.
question is, how do you express when a boundary has been crossed?
Oh!
So, in a relationship, whether it be romantic or not,
Yes.
if someone crosses your boundary, how do you let them know that they did that?
Yeah.
Like, how would you let someone?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah.
Wow. On the spot. Camera one. Get a load of this guy.
We got one camera.
It is
lights.
the camera one.
Only
If
one
it's the only
camera.
camera, then it is camera one. What was the question again? I'm so sorry.
How do you express when a boundary has been crossed?
This is an interesting question that I'm getting asked because I don't believe I'm the best at this. I believe that I don't protect my boundaries in the way I should, and that is definitely something I need to go to therapy for. But
shout out to BetterHelp.
shout out to therapists, dude. You're doing God's work out here.
Preach.
It's hard for me to even like accept sometimes because for me to step on my boundary is to disrespect me as a person. And for me, I was raised in a very, like, disrespect is worse than anything. Like,
it's the cardinal sin.
It is the sin. And, you know, although I'm not, like, that intense about it, like, I definitely, respect makes me feel loved. You know, I think that a lot of people can relate to that. So if someone, you know, oversteps my boundary, like, I'll give it a scenario so that it's a little easier to, like, put into perspective, you know. Hey, don't curse at me if we're having an argument. Like, I understand if you get really upset, that's okay, take a step away or do whatever you need to do to feel better. But I really would like if you don't curse at me angrily. It's a little bit triggering for me. I had a rough childhood. And for me, if a partner doesn't respect that, or you end up feeling like you have to defend it a little bit too much, that's definitely a red flag. I talked to a therapist about that. I had to be told that was bad. So that's not good.
Well, I mean, it's hard, especially when I'm going to play the gender card a little bit here. As women, we are kind of taught in society to be submissive, like, just in general.
I hate to use this example, but you know the penguins of Madagascar?
Yeah.
When they're like just smile and wave boys. I feel like that's how women are taught to deal with disrespect.
Anything.
Just like
anything.
That's fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm emotionally mature enough
the
for
meme
this
of the dog in the burning house.
Yeah,
that is,
yeah. I'm in danger.
But anyways, like, we're not really taught that we're allowed to have boundaries, so it takes us a really long time to be able to wake up from the fucking matrix that we get fucking raised in, and finally be able to see that, you know, I'm important enough to voice how I feel. So nowadays, young me was not like how I am now. I kissed everybody's ass. I wanted everyone to be happy. I have such a like nervous, anxious energy about me when it comes to the people that I love. It kills me when they're unhappy. So I would people please. I would do whatever I could at the, detriment of myself to make the people I cared about happy.
That just brings me to the I don't know who said it, and I'm gonna butcher it, but you can't live the life you were given for someone else.
Yeah, no, that's very true, because
they have theirs.
One day you wake up and you realize that you're so unhappy that you can't even spend a full day alone because you hate yourself so much.
Right.
And one day you realize, there's things that I can do to change this. Like,
yeah.
I can.
My energy is worth protecting, because
Yes.
for me, it's not even I used to be the kind of person that's like, oh my god, they're talking about their energy. But I get it now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just the term of like energy and I'm aligned and I like know what's up, dude. Like, I'm more aligned than you. It's protecting like the way you feel and the way you let other people make you feel. Like, me as a person, I live my life by trying to be as happy as I can. Even when I'm having hard days, I delude myself into being happy. You really gotta. It's all about perspective. I refuse to have a negative perspective on life, no matter how hard it gets. I want to be a light in the people around me's life. Like, so it's okay to only accept people who do the same thing. It's okay to set the boundary of, hey, if you're only adding like darkness and sadness and grief to my life, like I'm fighting with you every day of my life, I can't get a second to shower, get a second to breathe, it's okay to not accept that, to just be like, you know what, I am happier without this in my life. This is now a stressor. Like, what, I'm just gonna let this person deteriorate me?
Yep.
Whether it's a friend, whether it's a lover, like, you can't, some people get off on that power, and some people you just gotta cut it off.
Yep.
And it's hard.
Yep.
It's like an addiction.
But
it really is.
The thing is, I'm guilty of, in my past, relationship hopping. I would literally, date someone and not give myself enough time to actually process
To grieve.
the end of that relationship.
That relationship, yeah.
And, I did that pretty much from when I started dating. I started dating at a pretty, young age. I was, obsessed with boys, and it really shaped the way that I let people treat me. And eventually I got to a point where I was like, I need to stop this pattern. Like, I need to stop living for everyone else. I have so much inside me, so much that I want to express and do, that I can't do it if I just keep living for everybody else around me.
Yep.
And drowning in
Because
them.
at the end of the day, if everyone around you reaches their goal and you're done with all of your work, what? Now you're, 60, laying in bed realizing that you never went for any of your dreams?
Exactly.
Like, are they worried about your
Exactly.
dreams? And it's, a lot of people are taught, like, that's cold. Well, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's okay. Like, you are the conductor of the train that is your life. Like, and if, there are certain situations that are out of your hands, of course, but at the end of the day, your perspective is yours. No one can take that from you.
And it honestly took me being single for going on 3 years now to be able to set the boundaries that I do now. I used to, get blinders when I was dating someone and let so many red flags fly by and let people treat me like shit while I literally treated them like gold. And I spent enough time alone to realize that being on my own, like you said, is so much better than dealing
happier.
with less than.
If you treat yourself better than they do,
Why are you with them? It's that simple.
Honey, darling.
But it also isn't. I understand why it's not that simple. You get attachment. You get, trauma bonding. There's so many things that can make you stay in a relationship way longer than you should.
And I want to ask my next question. Were you saying the rest of the point?
My face on the microphone.
You okay? Luckily, it has a soft thing.
Yeah, I got cushion.
Is it okay to change or modify a boundary?
Yes. I mean, we discussed a little bit off camera before we started filming. If you're doing a relationship right, whether it's dating or a friendship or anything, you're supposed to grow as a person. Like, you're not supposed to be the same person your whole life. And even if you are a good person, you can always get better. Like, you can always learn new things, discover new passions. Like, you could be, you know, with me personally, my YouTube journey, I started out doing makeup reviews.
That's awesome.
That's how I started doing YouTube.
That's so interesting.
And
bro.
I wear makeup when we do stuff like this now.
So
I never wear
interesting.
makeup, like...
Wow.
Now I'm making cannabis content, travel content, music, a podcast. Like, I never would have pictured doing this stuff, but it was all the stuff I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But you live, you learn, you grow. Like, you find new parts of yourself, especially when you're loving yourself and you're healing and you're becoming the person that you're supposed to be when you actually put those boundaries up. Like, dating now is so different than it was, say, even just 5 years ago.
Back when I was a kid.
Even just 5 years ago. Like, I see a red flag, I say it. I tell them straight up, like, this isn't okay, like, depending on what it is, obviously. I either cut them off or, you know, depending on what it is, give them a chance, but, like, I clearly state.
Because that's definitely a part of it, too, is severity.
Yeah,
definitely a part of it.
And also, like you said, you to change and modify a boundary is, you know, the further you go into a relationship, the more you learn about a person, the more you learn about yourself, the more you try with that person. Bringing it back to sexual, just because that's one of the things that's so hard for people to talk about. The more you have sex or you're intimate with someone, the more you learn you like in that realm. And they will too. Like, if you're with someone that you're comfortable with, if you've never been comfortable in sex before and you find someone that makes you comfortable, you're gonna find new things that you're into. You're gonna find things that you're not into because maybe they're into it. Like, it's just being able to voice those opinions and feel comfortable enough. Where were we?
You were answering, okay,
modifying sexual.
And you said yes.
Yeah, it's okay. For sure.
It's totally okay.
You're
it's like
to.
encouraged, actually.
Yeah.
So the next one was kind of just a bullet point, but like, what's the difference in a relationship, no matter what it is, you know, really blah blah blah. What's the difference between having and not having, and what could be the consequences?
So obviously having boundaries, healthy boundaries in a relationship is going to boost the longevity of it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I mean, the more you're able to vocalize how you feel in a relationship, the healthier it'll be.
Yeah.
Even if the way you're feeling isn't rational.
I mean, even just like in our relationship, you know, we sisters, but I was actually talking to Mom, and this is like a little bit of a tangent. Mom and I were talking in the car the other day about like, you know how I said I had that out of body experience of being like, they used to hear us like screaming at each other, and now they're hearing like giggling at like 2 in the morning. Yeah, it changes every time. We're up late. And she was saying, like, she was just talking about it, like, I feel so helpless, like, when you guys are fighting, and I'm like, yeah, we crazy. But I was saying, like, I can't remember the last time we got in, like, a blow-up, you know? And that's because I think we both have learned to kind of, I don't think we've ever been bad at communication, but I think that we kind of learned how to do it in a way that each other can feel comfortable with. Like, we both have very different communication styles.
Yes.
Like, I feel like I'm very direct and I'm very put it on the table and then deal with it, and she's very like, let's give me a moment.
I need to get high and listen to music and process this.
And it could, when neither, because we were young too, so like we didn't know exactly how to best communicate that way, and we were just frustrated and blah 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 blah.
And also, like, it goes back to like our education system being so flawed when it comes to teaching mental health things in general. Like, not even knowing that there are different communication styles. Like, we didn't know that growing up. We didn't realize that if we understood how each other communicates, we would understand how to communicate.
I feel like it's almost just as simple as like, hey, you know, you guys might not be communicating in like the most healthy or perfect way right now, but it's okay. Take a breath. It's okay. It isn't the end of the world. It's gonna be okay. We'll figure it out. You gotta be patient. You gotta give human beings time. Because like she was saying, like, I need time to process shit. Like, you might be ready right now, but like me not being ready right now doesn't mean I don't care. Because for us, that was like our biggest thing is I would be like, do you care though? Like and she'd just be like, I can't, which is communication, you know? And both of us were trying so hard to communicate with this person that felt like it was just like a wall. So of course we're both going to get defensive and angry and frustrated, but the older we've gotten, you know, we both have kind of looked for these signs in each other. Like, part of loving someone, because, like, obviously I love the fuck out of her. She's my sister. Like, part of loving someone is kind of paying attention to things like that. Like, you know, now I'm a lot more soft with my delivery, for lack of a better term. Like, I'm a lot more gentle with I'm not, you know, I don't come off as abrasive, you know, because I wouldn't even realize how abrasive I was coming off, because I'd just be like, hey, you know, A plus B equals C, like, what's up? And, you know, that would come off as, like, oh my god, this person's angry, or oh my god, she just doesn't care. Like, and that's completely not how I'm trying to, like, communication is so intricate, and it, you know, everyone's different. Like, the way she interprets something, even if it isn't the way I came off, like, or, you know, the way I thought I did come off, it doesn't mean either of us are wrong. You know, it just means that we're communicating differently, and that's okay. And we can learn to change that. We can learn to work on it. We can compromise, you know, and since we've done that, I mean, we're creating together again. Like, we're doing a podcast about mental health. Like,
who would have, like, I could have never seen
we
that
used
for us as a
girl,
kid.
the way we used to fight was crazy.
Yeah.
Girl.
Like, literally throwing bar stools.
Untreated mental health at its finest. We were not nearly as close as we are now. Like, because that's the cool thing is we are very, very fucking different from each other. But that's only in, like, our communication style, and, like, the way we view the world, very similar. Like, the way we view how to treat other people, very similar. Like, we don't have
our morals.
I don't know if we have any morals that differ from each other. Like, we would live in a weird ass house where we're helping raise each other's kids. Like, we would do that because we're besties.
Be prepared.
Like, yeah, right. Family channel. No, oh my god, those poor kids.
No, I would do a couple channel, but I don't think I would do a travel channel or a family channel. That's a little much.
I wouldn't even do a couple channel.
Depends on the person that's.
I don't care if they are Ryan Reynolds themselves. I will not do anything like that.
I think it would be fun. The only reason that I think it would be cool to do something like that is because we obviously lost a bunch of stuff in the hurricane. Some of the only family videos we have now are on my Vibe Tribe Supply YouTube channel of, like, just the vlogs that we have done together as a family. So, like, if it's someone that you're really serious about, thank you. And it's someone that, like, you actually see yourself building a life with, I think it's just
no,
really
that's adorable.
cool
I
to be able
completely
to
agree
see,
with that.
like, the progression of your relationship. You know?
I'm jaded. I'm angry at the world, but no, that's beautiful.
As much as I've been hurt, I'm still very much a hopeless romantic.
Same. Completely same. But, like, when it comes to, like, technology and how, like, the internet is forever, like, there's so many people, well, not so many, oh my god. But
okay,
there's
you can
people
you can delete videos.
I agree, but also, like, having to go and delete it. I don't like that feeling. Like, I like to
fair.
avoid that completely. Like, one thing I don't do, I'm just not much of a picture person.
That's
and
fair.
that's been problems in relationships before. They're like, are you trying to hide me?
Are you real?
And I'm like, dude, no, I just don't do that. Like, I'd rather take a picture of my video game I'm playing and, like, see if you like this game, or, you know, that's just not, taking pictures of myself feels so weird.
I like documenting life, and that's
She's
why
like, I'm a historian.
I love
Low-key,
cameras.
high-key.
I love photo, video. Like, it's just it's yeah.
You look at the world through a creative lens. And so the next question.
Wait, I have one more.
Oh, okay, yeah, go for it.
Examples of healthy boundaries versus unhealthy boundaries.
Woo! Go for it. Give two of each.
So healthy boundaries would be just being able to say no is, like, the best boundary that you can have. Like I said, took me a long time to be able to do stuff like that in many different assets. So just knowing the value and the power in saying no, and knowing that you're allowed to say no in any situation. Doesn't matter who it's with or what the situation is. You're
if you don't
allowed
want to do
say
it,
no.
don't do it.
And
Simple. Don't do it.
also, like, you know, I think a healthy boundary in a relationship is vocalizing how you're feeling, like, all the time.
Open communication
Because
about your emotions.
Me personally, I'm bipolar. I have
Which means she spends time in the North Pole and she spends time in system is.
Yeah, that's true.
There had to be one person who's like,
who thought that's what it was?
they're like, set up
Out yourself.
Set up.
But no, as far as like bipolar in my life goes, I am a very emotional person. That's just how I am.
Them's the breaks.
I've had people like judge me for being too emotional, have literally ended relationships with me saying that I'm too emotional.
The right people will love it.
Exactly. Took a long time to realize
it took
that.
a long time for me to realize that when people were really emotional around me, the reason I would get frustrated is because I didn't know how to do that myself. Like, it was envy. Mm-hmm. It was like damn, you are so in touch with yourself, you bitch. And that's like so sad that I lived like that, you know? I was an angry little shit. No wonder ants attacked me. I'm allergic to ants. Wait, no, I just told people how to like assassinate me.
I'll edit
Assassin
it out, don't worry.
They said an assassin is just a fucking ant with a big ass. One of Jordy's ants.
Oh no, don't talk about it.
And it's just like Nicki Minaj up in this bitch. Wow, what a tangent.
No.
Okay, so non-healthy.
Non-healthy. I would say. So I'm guilty of telling someone that I need time to like process something and put it off and like be able to process it to a point where I can actually talk about it.
Answering really quickly. And then coming back and dealing with it too quick.
No, just
that's where that was going.
keep putting it off and keep putting it off.
Oh,
the opposite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, gotcha.
Like I have done that myself, and you know, with us specifically.
Oh yeah.
Because there's just certain times where like you're gonna confront me with something and I genuinely don't know how to answer it because maybe like I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
I don't want you to hate me because I feel this way. Like
I could never
it
hate
gets
you
so
ever.
complex and complicated. But that was before I like actually found my voice and was able to.
And now,
to
like
say how I
honestly,
feel.
in situations, I can read a little bit better when I can tell like you're getting frustrated. And then like I used to think like, oh my gosh, she's mad at me, but like
No,
I can
with
see
my
the
own
wheels
emotions.
turning in your own head of being like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you're overwhelmed. It's okay.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, are you
'Cause-
okay? Do you need a hug? Like, I don't know how to affection in this way, but do you want hug? And usually
Your
it's yes.
emotions just they can get kind of intense, and sometimes like the mouth goes faster than the brain, and I have in the past said things that I didn't mean, or like I was seeing red and just like was not me, and I don't like getting to that point. So I have learned to be able to.
You needed a Snickers bar.
What?
You needed a Snickers bar.
I'm not me when I'm angry. But no, I think that on the other side of that coin though, like just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. You're only hurting yourself. Like just deal with it.
It
Just-
gives you time to, like, almost fester too.
Literally,
It's like a wound.
you sit
you're
there and you're just
letting,
obsessing
like,
over it, and
flies.
you're like, oh my god, like how do I do this? What do I do? Just
She hates
fucking-
me, and it's like
just
I'm like bothered that I can't tell you.
Say
stuff
what
right
you're
now.
feeling, say what you're thinking, even if you think that it's gonna blow up in your face, it's gonna be a lot better than sitting there and tormenting yourself until you do it.
Hey, news. Bad news is better than no news.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I almost butchered
one of
it.
my
I did
favorite quotes is, I would rather be slapped with the truth than comforted with a lie.
Honestly, girl, slap me with that truth, comfort me with the truth. Get out of my face with them lies, girl.
Preach.
Heard on God. Clap house down.
But yeah, so the second unhealthy boundary I would say is
Please don't fall. Like, the microphone's like old.
an unhealthy boundary. It's so much easier to think of healthy ones now, which
What-
is such a nice thing to say.
Yeah, I guess that is good.
But unhealthy boundaries.
Yeah, like a boundary that if someone said it to you, you'd be like, "Arr," because you would like know something. Like you're like, "Oh, I can say one that I'm thinking of."
Go for it.
Okay, so this isn't inherently like a unhealthy boundary, but I think in certain circumstances, it doesn't leave a lot of room for the partner to like just be human.
Okay.
So for me, I dealt with it in my last relationship. I'll just put them on blast. I don't care. I refuse to go to sleep if we haven't solved an issue that we are having. For me, I understand you don't want to go to sleep angry. You don't want me to go to sleep angry. I understand that. Coming to some amicable agreement,
So
I
literally
completely
the
agree
opposite of what I said.
with that, I completely agree with. But for me, this isn't a romantic relationship. I don't know if I've ever really faced this in a friendship, but romantically, there will be times where I'm so overwhelmed and I can't. It's hard for me to discern, am I okay with this just because I'm in love with this person, or am I actually okay with this? Like, is this what I want right now, or am I afraid of being alone? And that's a really hard question to ask yourself,
Yep.
but I think only in an unhappy relationship will you be asking yourself that. And I remember being told that by my partner I refuse to go to sleep if we're angry. And it was in this, and it was actually told to me, this is a rule I have. For me, it's almost offensive to say it's a rule and not this is a personal boundary, because I'm not in school and you're not my teacher. But, and I was like, okay, well, let's talk about this a little bit. I completely understand where you're coming from. Correct me if I'm wrong. I agree. I don't want to go to sleep angry at you. I don't want you to go to sleep angry. Like, I don't want you to go to sleep if you feel like there's this huge unresolved, anything. But also, if I want space or I want to sleep on something, because that's something I've recently learned about myself, is if it's night and I know, like, you have to be up early or I have to be up early, I'm going to start freaking out if it starts getting late. Because being punctual is very important to me. Being professional is very important to me, and I don't want to look like I'm dying at work. I don't want to feel like I'm dying at work. Like, it's important to me. Doesn't mean that you aren't, but I don't even feel like that should have to be said. Like, that my job matters and I have to be able to sleep.
It falls under respecting your partner and the life and the schedule that they have. Like, I am talking to someone who has a completely different schedule than me, and it can get really frustrating when you're wanting to talk to them and, they're asleep when you're awake and vice versa.
They're going to work when you're going to sleep.
Yeah, it can be really, really frustrating, but you also have to respect the person that you're talking to enough to, you shouldn't even have to ask for that boundary.
Because, you missed them all day,
inherited.
but, like, what if they want to go to the gym, or, like, what if they want to go swim and, like, they don't want to be on their phone? Like, what if they don't really have to even sit there and explain that? Just, like, you sometimes have to realize, like, you got to give people room to just live their life a little bit, And you can't be involved in every little thing a person's doing. And I think that situation taught me, like, I'm not picking apart people's boundaries. I'm very, what's the word? Very, very present when someone's, talking about, because I realize how vulnerable that is and how much respect they have for me to talk about that. But I should be able to say, can there be room for compromise on that? Like, can we talk about this a little bit? Because for me personally, I would rather not rush a really important topic in our relationship. Like, this is a really important topic and I already feel myself getting worried I have to be up in 4 hours, so I can't give this what it deserves. That doesn't mean I don't care. It means I care a lot. Like, and that, I've experienced, saying sorry for the night just so it's over. And that's so not healthy. That's a not healthy boundary.
That's a Band-Aid.
That is not a healthy boundary. If you put, I need to sleep well tonight, above, like, are you okay, or your mental health, like, we need to fix this, your mental health doesn't matter, we just need to fix this. That's not healthy. That is not a healthy boundary at all.
Yeah. So, someone that won't compromise.
Yeah.
That's...
Because your boundary, even if I said to someone, I don't want you to curse when you're angry at me. If we're arguing and they say a damn, or they say a shit, or they say a fuck, and I'm like, hey, and they're like, shit, I'm really sorry, that just came out. I didn't mean to disrespect you in that way. Completely understood. Completely understood. Thank you for remembering and caring. Like, we're working on it. I'm working on stuff too.
We're all people. We're all different people. We're all going to see the world in a completely different way. We're all going to have different boundaries that we set for ourselves. And that's how you find the right people for yourself, is being able to enforce those boundaries, being able to vocalize those boundaries, being able to find someone who might have similar boundaries to you, or someone that you at least respect enough that you would compromise.
And this actually brings me into what my next question was, is what should you do if you cross someone's boundary? And I think we just kind of answered that a little bit. Like
if you're
for me personally, you know, say you told me, hey, I need space, I need to process this, you know, the way you said that hurt my feelings, and I feel like this is what you meant by it, and although I want to hear what you have to say, right now I don't think I could handle that, and mentally I'm not okay, and I want some space.
And now she put that a lot more elegantly than I usually do. I'm just like, I need weed, I need music, leave me alone.
Milk! And it's like, okay, get milk, bitch.
No, I'm not that much of a wreck, but yeah.
But what I'm saying is, in that situation, I would be like, okay, completely understood, like, let me know when you want to talk. If you want to hang out and just not talk about that, that's okay. If you want to just be by yourself, that's okay. Like, thank you for communicating with me. If that bothered you, if it was a certain word I used or anything of that nature, I'll refrain from saying it. Mm-hmm. If that specific word makes you feel some type of way, there are so many synonyms, like, we'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yep.
You needing to go away for like a few hours or for the night or anything, it isn't gonna change how I feel, or if anything, it's gonna give me more time to think about it.
And honestly, I just think the best thing that you can do if you do cross someone's boundaries is just talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, if you can tell someone's energy is off with you, and you feel like you might have done something that caused that energy shift,
I've recently kind of started doing that a lot more. Like,
you can vocalize how you
specifically,
feel.
You wear it on your face.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot hide an emotion for the life of you. And I'll see that shift in, because we hang out constantly. So, like, we both know when something's up. We're like,
she'll just, like, come in the room and I'm, like, intensely looking at the computer and she's like, are you okay?
And
it's like, yeah,
literally.
No,
and I'm like,
not.
and, you know, and that's just an interesting topic in itself. When someone tells you they're fine, you can tell the bitch is lying. In that moment, I'm not going to sit in that moment and focus on the fact that it quote unquote was a lie, because it's not about me feeling lied to. It's about this person not wanting to talk about it right now when it comes down to it. So that's cool. You know where I'm at. I already asked you what's up. If you want to tell me actually, because you're lying, bitch, then let me know. But
it's not lying. It's just not being able to process everything around you at once.
That's a colorful way to say you lied.
No, it's just, you know, like, for me personally,
it's all interpretation.
I have a lot of emotions, and
Yeah.
sometimes, like, I don't want to sit there and explain every weird thought and, like, emotion that runs through my head. I just want to process it and let it go away. But yeah, so
my next question goes into what you just said too, though.
we're just
Do you just want me to go
flowing,
for
we're
it?
vibing.
Okay. So this one's actually, I really like this one. What are some, like, signs or body language, like, of when you can tell you kind of did that?
Yeah, that does.
Because the thing
is,
is, in our situation, we are so close to each other that I'll walk in and I'll just see that wide-eyed, I'm freaking the fuck out inside, like, face from her, and I'll be like, hey, like, or because it happens a lot when we're in the middle of a conversation, because, like, she'll try to be like, I'm fine, like, and I'm like, and I can understand why it's annoying if someone knows how you're feeling, but you don't want to talk about it. I completely understand that, but also I'm like, because, like, you want to help, but also this person's in a state where maybe they don't feel like that. So you just want to let them take the moment to, you know, maybe they're still seething and they're just masking. Like, you don't know. Like, people are so unique. Like, in the fact of, if we'll be in the middle of a conversation, I'll, like, see a little bit of, like, to something, and I'll just straight up be like, hey, did something I say upset you? Is it okay? Did I do something? Is it okay? Hello? You alright? I don't want to have weird air between us. Because that's the thing. We relate on that. I hate having weird air between, but we go about it in very different ways. Because I hate, like, especially us, because anything happens in my life, I want to tell you. So if we're fighting, it's like,
who am I gonna tell?
I have so much tea, though.
Who am I gonna tell?
Like, I know we fought yesterday at 10 a.m. about something I don't remember, but I have so much I need to tell you. And then what's so funny is the way it's so funny. She'll come into my room, and she'll just, like, it'll be something, right? She'll have, like, a cup of hot cocoa, or be like, hey, I just I made you a cup of hot cocoa if you want some. If you want to hang out, I'm in my room. And then she'll just start walking away, and like that for me is so hard to process, which is interesting because confrontation is hard for her to process. Someone confronts me, I'm like, let's get it. Someone's affectionate towards me, and I'm like, what do I do? Like, that's so nice. I'm gonna cry, and then do I go hang out with her? Is that weird? Like, and then we both just like come in here, and then we just like cry and hug, and we're good.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, you know, I hear like people say this all the time, but like I definitely feel like I'm an empath or like empathetic when it comes to other people. Maybe it could be that I just hyper fixate on like people and like the way they react to things, and I just pick up on things like that, and I notice like if something's off with someone.
Well, if you want to explain a sign, that's what the question is.
So
a sign, body language.
Let's just say like at work, I'll use that as an example because, you know, you can go into
give them the word tea.
You can go into, you know, your job and like just kind of, you can look over at someone who usually has a certain energy about them, and they're just kind of like quiet. They're like kind of like hunched over.
She's explaining that she's the homie.
Kind of keeping to themselves, and you know, I always try and make it a point to be like, hey, your energy seems off a little bit today. Are you okay? Like,
I love that. The homies at work. The homies at work that are like, hey, bro, brought a Twinkie today.
Your vibes just aren't like
seeming off. It's like
vibing.
You're giving me a Twinkie right now.
But yeah, I mean, I have a good little squad at work. You know,
she talks about her. Matt, if you're watching this, she freaking loves you.
I do love you, Matt.
She loves you, dude. Like, I gotta meet you just because of how much this bitch loves you.
My homie.
She talks about him so much.
I gotta watch that movie.
She's like, we gotta hang out. You gotta come hang out with us. And I'm like, okay, I need friends, and you already like this person, so.
But actually, just not to like humble brag or what, but I did get a promotion at work.
Woo!
And I am starting next week, so I don't know how that's going to be for our schedule, but
we'll figure it out.
We are going to be consistent.
We in this together. Are you still going to have your day off for God?
I'm going to try.
That could be the day.
It is sad because I'm going to have to leave, you know, my job like that I'm at right now and make more friends. I will be able to see them every week though, which will be cool because I'll be distribution driving. So,
ayo.
But yeah, just being able to. Honestly, I think being able to notice signs and like things, like to be able to tell that something's different in a relationship, regardless of if it's a friendship or nice. You have to like it's genuinely care about the person enough to notice when something's off, you know? And if you don't notice things like that, maybe you should like, or even like evaluate how much you actually care about this relationship.
If you don't care if they sad, bro, like what you doing?
Or like if you genuinely can never pick up on like how they're feeling and processing and all of that, like you should reevaluate how much you actually care, because if that person is doing the things for you that you're not doing for them, it's only fair to not be in that kind of relationship, you know? Like, I can be 100% honest and say that I've had certain friendships and, you know, even just with the online dating world, you know, you match with someone, you add them on, like, Snapchat or something, and the conversation just, like, goes dead, and, like, they're just randomly messaging you every few weeks, and it's like, okay, why am I still entertaining this when it's not going anywhere? Like... It's okay to end friendships and relationships if you don't really feel like you're that invested.
Yep.
And if you do pick up on like people's shifts in energy, then yeah, you care, and you should voice those things to them, because I'm sure that they'll appreciate.
It makes people feel seen,
knowing that you know them well enough to know that something's off.
Because like, and me specifically, like with friends and stuff, I usually have a very like bubbly demeanor. Like I'm the goofball, you know. And when I'm not in that mood, you know, I'm pretty #blessed to have the friends that are gonna be like, hey bitch, like you seem sad, what the fuck? And I'm so lucky that they talk to me in this way, like, cause that's affection. Like, hey, like I'm gonna fuck you up if you're sad, but also like, what's up, what's wrong, I love you, you know. That's to aggressively caring about your friends. like hey bitch, who made you sad and who am I killing? Like what's their address? I just want to talk.
I just want to talk for a little bit. Nothing,
and like it talking about, you know, if you don't notice these subtle changes, and if you don't, you know, kind of act accordingly just out of compassion, what are you doing? You know, it has to do with the importance of boundaries, which was my last question. Is what is the importance and how exactly did you learn about boundaries? You know, for me personally, I think she can relate to this. She's already spoken on it a bit. Our best teacher in life, unfortunately, is trauma. You know, going through situations where it's like, oh, well, that's a new boundary, or that's a boundary I didn't protect. You know, it teaches me how to treat other people and how to treat myself. You know, it starts at the top, sis. Like, if you treat yourself really well and you love yourself, you know, you're only going to accept that, and you're only going to be surrounded by love, which is the most beautiful part of the human experience, in my opinion.
Go off, sis. Go off. Work, queen.
Work for that love, sis.
I mean,
you gotta work for that love.
That was very well said. I definitely agree that trauma is your best teacher, and it really does, you know, show you things that you probably would have never learned on your own. Me personally, I just went through enough shitty relationships to finally put my foot down and be like, you know what, I keep letting this.
That's sweet little baby.
Okay.
Nikki is such a sweetheart.
Okay, but
oh my god, we're shouting out to our buddies though. Like, Nikki, love you, you're awesome.
But
love you, you're awesome. I haven't met you, but she loves you, so we love you. We're hive mind.
Like, me personally, when it comes to like learning those boundaries, it was going through enough shitty relationships and being able to put my foot down and be like, I don't deserve to be treated like this. And this, I don't like talking about this a lot because it takes like people that have gone through similar things to really fully understand it, because it sounds like horrible in a way, but you let people treat you the way they treat you. And
when you start to notice you're developing a pattern, it starts to be more in your court. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're accepting the same thing over and over again, you know, that's kind of the definition of insanity. Mm-hmm. If you're not changing something to change your outcome, then your outcome's always going to be the same. Yep. And at a certain point, you're enabling someone if they just keep doing the same thing over and over, and you're like, it's okay, it's not you. Yep. Because the unfortunate truth is, you know, after my third failed relationship where I ended up being emotionally abused, I stayed way longer than I should have. And, you know, it's not healthy to sit here and be like, I should have done differently. I should have blah, 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 blah. It's something I learned. Mm-hmm. I'm going to live with it, and it's going to make me a better person. It's going to make me inherently treat people better. Like, there's so much positive that came out of such a negative in life, and that's kind of how you have to look at it with that, you know? There is some sort of responsibility and ownership when it becomes a pattern, but you know, I get what you were meaning and how it could sound bad. So
yeah, it's what she said.
She's not victim blaming.
No, like, I know it can sound like that, but you really have to be able to look at the way you let people treat you and know that you're allowed to voice that that's not okay. Like, you have to know that you are valued enough just being who you are, not, you know, you're this person's mother, you're this person's daughter,
what you
this
offer.
Person's, you know, boss.
I like to look at it like you're at a pool party, and like, you are the DJ of this pool party, so you're like in charge of the energy, you're in charge of like the flow of the evening. Who are you letting in? And who are you not?
Yeah.
You know, because you're not a bouncer at a club. You're not like, you're hot. You're not. Mm-hmm. Like your energy slaps. Come right in. You creep me the out. Bye-bye. Like, that's how you should be with your life. Like, life is your party.
It's
your DJ Shark party.
That's a good, like, general way to put it. Yeah. And then focusing even more, like, as far as relationship aspect.
Who's in your VIP, sis?
Not even just that. The correlation that people put between, like, your body being a temple. It's literally, I always thought it was so cheesy and stupid when I was younger. But now I really understand that, like, with the things that I've been through as far as, like, sexuality and understanding who I am as a person, like, energy transfer is real. Like, call me crazy, but
I mean, you do a wave at a concert, I know you feel that shit.
But every person that you're intimate with leaves a part of their essence in you.
Oh my god, it got worse. I was
But
already
it's true,
giggling.
like,
That's what she said.
you really do transfer that energy, like, and
When you're around someone, I think that's where, like, the whole term of, like, you become, like the people you hang around.
It's
you know?
true, though.
You start to become, similar to the people you hang around. It's because that energy transfer, for sure.
Like, it doesn't have to just be sexual. Like, whoever you spend time with, you're not only transferring your energy into them, but they're transferring their energy into you.
And some people just don't steal it.
Preach.
They just don't steal it from you.
Preach.
And you gotta realize this is mine.
And that is how you set a
boundary.
boundary. Speaking of, we are going to start doing music soon. So, we are wanting to get back into doing, like, live streams.
I guess I should have been talking like this with my new hair.
Oh, yeah, if you guys
Hi,
didn't
welcome
notice,
back.
we have a,
Welcome
we have
back,
a ginger
ladies.
among us now.
I've sold my soul. I
But
sold me wee soul to Lucifer.
she's a redhead now. I was thinking of maybe doing blue. And
Oh
then
my
maybe
god,
Fire
it's
and
stuck
Ice.
in my hair.
Are you okay?
I'm chill.
Okay.
Just almost pulled my hair out.
But, we're back, guys. Sorry for the hiatus. I know it's been a little
We
while.
moved though, to be fair.
We had a lot going on.
Yeah. A lot has happened,
Health
but a lot's going to
issues.
happen.
Everyone's okay, but we've had some things going
She
on.
put it out there.
And we're back at it. We are going to be posting at least one video a week on our
And now
Fire
she
and
said it
Ice
to you, so we
YouTube.
have to.
Yeah, so if it's not a podcast,
And we're writing songs.
if it's not a podcast, it'll be something else.
We met nice people at
Yeah.
a studio.
our next
we
video.
enjoyed it. We enjoyed it immensely.
We actually got to go and interview the guys at Joint Empire Troupe. It was Casey and Cameron, aka Queso and Parlay.
Okay, so I parlay.
Dudes were really cool.
They were so
They
awesome.
had, like, we were just talking about energy transfer. I'll transfer energy with them any day. Like, they are so awesome. That sounds
She's
really
so
bad.
fucking sus, dude.
But no, they were really cool. I'll put it in the
No, they were
somewhere
awesome. Like,
over.
and
here.
honestly, as
I'll put
people
the
who
link,
have their
check
own
it out.
like little area where people create and like the DJs and they produce and they mix and stuff, I bet it would be really nice for them to hear this. We literally came home and we felt inspired. Like
we wrote
we
music
wrote a bit,
when we got home.
and I have not written in so long. Like I've been having a really hard time connecting with like my creativity because life's just been like really kicking me recently.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really nice to go because I've had a bad interaction with the studio before, but they made us so comfortable. Like I look forward to.
We should talk about expression in the next episode.
What do you mean? Oh,
Like all the different ways that we express
How-
ourselves.
express yourself.
I thought it too.
Oh shit!
But
She
yeah,
think I'd do it.
they inspired us to get back into our music, so we're gonna have music coming out sometime this year. Stay tuned. I am.
Is a quick question, unrelated somewhat. Is parlay what what pirates say?
That's what I
They-
was thinking too.
I'm gonna have
We're
to.
that's
if you answer in the comments, is parlay what they said in Pirates of the
I
Caribbean?
believe so. I don't know if that's why his name is that way.
No, I don't think
I'm so
Does he really
curious.
like pirates?
Maybe.
I didn't even think about asking that.
Why was that not my first question?
We gotta redo the whole thing.
Right, the whole interview.
And
But
give him a fucking cowboy or not cowboy. Fuck, that's so
Pirate hat.
confusing.
pirate hat.
Pirate hat.
But yeah, just stay tuned, guys. I know it's been a long time, but we are going to start being consistent again. We're gonna be putting out. We're gonna try and put out.
I didn't even mention. I don't want to cut you off, but Twitch. I wanted to get back on there.
Getting back into
Swag.
that. No,
Swag.
we're gonna start trying to post. I don't know if we'll be able to do it every week, but maybe every other week we'll post a podcast episode. We want to start doing covers. We want to start getting back into our Twitch. If you don't follow us on our socials, it's Fire and Ice on everything.
FYE.
I'm gonna put it right here, so
ANDEYECE.
They'll be able to see it.
Swag. I already was.
Well, I guess for
halfway
the
done spelling it.
Spotify, yeah.
I had to spell it.
But we're Fire and Ice on everything. We have our YouTube, our Spotify, our Twitch, our TikTok, our Instagram, our Facebook.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get over my social media fear. We're gonna TikTok so hard. Oh my god, I can't believe I just said that. We're gonna do.
we'll
a lot
actually
of
film a
stuff.
TikTok right now. And post it.
No,
We need
will,
to. We need
fine.
to tell people that this is a thing and we're doing it.
I don't know.
But yeah,
Macaroni.
let us know if you guys have any ideas for future videos. Let us know in the comments below. If you are interested in being a guest on our show, we are trying to get that in the works as well. We'll be posting a lot more things. We actually have discussed.
We're discussing.
We've discussed getting back into doing spooky stuff.
Oh, and also
short films and comedy sketches. So let us know what you guys would like to see in the comments. We're going to be doing some stuff.
And also, because of our really long hiatus as far as Twitch and gaming, because that is something I'm very excited about getting back to soon, we're working on replacing our rig, so that's exciting. We're now in a position to start doing so. So once we do, we have a bunch of new games. We have so much stuff.
I have over 100 games in my Epic.
Well, I have I just recently brought freaking Elden Ring. I still haven't played it, so that would be really cool.
And we've been obsessed with Paleo lately, so we still got to show you guys
how
that goes.
It would be cute to start over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so we're going to end this podcast here. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned. I know it's been a while, but we are back at it again.
Mars attacks, and so do we.
Yeah.
Know that the ride or
We'll see you guys
die.
in
I
the
keep
next
boys by my side.
one.
Thank
Know
you.
that the ride or
Bye.
die. I keep boys by my side.
Day we hustle, but the night we